Hey everyone, welcome to Peaceful Growth podcast and today's episode with Mark Westguard. Mark is a founder of WS Forms, and it's one of the popular WordPress form plugin. Not only popular, but also something that me and my team we also use in across all our brands, Multi-Dots, Multicollab, and Dot Store. And if I remember it correctly, we actually have also recommended to a bunch of our clients too from our agency business when they ask for a form plugin in WordPress. Welcome, Mark.
Hey, Anil, thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, I was looking forward to have you for today's episode, and especially your journey with creating a WordPress product company, growing it to where it is right now. And I learned an interesting fact, right, like 5 minutes ago, that it's a one-person business. So actually, this episode, you make this episode even more interesting with that fact.
The entire team has taken time off to talk to you, Anil.
That's awesome. So, Mark, how about we start with your introduction? Tell us who you are, what do you do, and any background information like before WS Form, what were you doing, like a little bit of journey and.
So, I mean, you and I are now both in the US. I'm originally from the UK, as you can probably tell from my accent.
Absolutely.
I don't know how far you want to go back. Are we going to 6 years old? No, let's start when I started my first internet business. So I started, I want to say in 1996. I started my first internet agency called Absolute Internet. We were the UK's second fastest growing agency back then. So we worked with all types of companies like, UK brands that people may not have heard of, but Safeway, British Telecom, government stuff. And we got hit by the dot-com bubble like pretty much everybody else did during that time and downsized. We were
how big was your business at that time, Ben?
At that time, we had about, I want to say, 30, 40 people in the business, plus a bunch of third parties that we work with. And I've always had an agency, so I've always been in the web game ever since Netscape Navigator 1. So now I moved to the US in 2005. I started an agency in New Orleans very, very shortly after Katrina. So, the city was in a pretty bad state, but we were able to successfully start a business there, which was great. And now, about 5 years ago, decided that I wanted to get back into the software licensing game. I've been in software licensing for quite a while. I used to have a wedding website and wedding planning business, which was a white label product that I licensed out to people like Condé Nast, who do Vanity Fair magazine, but also Brides magazine. So we used to license that software out to the bridal industry and really wanted to get back into that. I love the idea of some form of passive income, but just love building a product. As much as I love building sites and building solutions for clients, I always feel like I'm building them for someone else and I want to build something for me. So the idea was to build a WordPress plugin. And we looked around. We weren't looking to be the next, the next Facebook or the next big thing out there. We just wanted to find a niche and maybe do something better than we saw was being done currently. And that's where WS Form was born. So about 5 years ago, we started coding it, thinking, this will take about 6 months. And here we are today, still programming it and still improving it and still listening to customers and building the product. So yeah, my career has always been in the web industry. I've always been building web-related things and love it. Absolutely love learning about new things every day. Love being part of the WordPress community and sponsoring it wherever we can. So yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm slowly trying to, almost there actually, transition from agency to the plugin more. And due to the success of WS Form and the ability to do that in the WordPress environment has enabled me to do that, which has been great. So yeah.
So you already transitioned from agency to product, or you're still in the middle of that?
Yeah, I still have some agency work that I do. I work with some of the larger clients that I have. Still love doing that. So, that's still ongoing. But 99% of what I do now is WS Form. So yes, it's me. I do most of the coding and everything else. I'm working it with my wife. But we have support team of people that we work with to make it happen, and third parties that we work with to handle a lot of what we do. And we've really tried to automate the business as much as possible. So by providing, good support documentation online to reduce the amount of support tickets that we get, we kind of analyze what people type in as they're sending us a support ticket and fire back responses to help them out. So by doing that, we've managed to keep the business very, very lean. And so, just good quality code, making sure that we wean out bugs as quickly as we can, being really responsive to support tickets, listening to customers, all helps in making the business run more smoothly and more efficiently.
Yeah. So do you have any tips or lessons for someone who has an agency business and they are aspiring to move to a product business? Like any tips, lessons there?
Definitely consider how much work is involved. I mean, you're effectively starting a whole new business. I think any online business needs to be treated like a bricks and mortar business. You've got all the needs of a bricks and mortar business than you do with a regular plugin business or any other business that you want to start. You're effectively starting from scratch. So you've got to get all your accounting in place, your licensing, everything else is all got to be built properly. You need to identify the team you're going to be working with, the resources that you're going to need to achieve that. And doing that alongside running another business is an incredible commitment. The amount of hours that I've put in to building this business, a lot of people are like, Mark never sleeps. He's always awake and answering support tickets at God knows what hour. So it's definitely a bit of a sacrifice on the family time. I have a wife and two kids. And, you're hoping that eventually this is going to be a really good thing for your family. But do bear in mind that running two businesses concurrently and transitioning is always a struggle. I mean, starting a business on your own, bootstrapping a business from scratch is a huge undertaking. People don't really realize the amount of work that's involved because it's not just about building a plugin. Now, I went ahead and built probably one of the most complex plugins that are out there, which is a form plugin. It's not an easy thing to do.
I was going to say that it's very competitive when you enter, I believe, there were already a lot of different WP form plugins and stuff like that. So it's really brave and courageous to kind of enter into such this competitive market.
Yeah, there was a lot of competition out there when we entered it, but there were. I mean, there's a lot of form plugins out there. If you do a search on the WordPress repo, you'll see that there's a ton of form plugins out there. But there aren't many that really differentiate themselves. It's just a lot of people kind of having a go at reinventing the way of editing a form plugin. And there's been some really heroic efforts at that. Where we wanted to focus was on developers. The reason that we built it was several reasons. We felt that when building a form, you tended to have to do a lot of custom coding or add a lot of different plugins to get it to achieve what you wanted to do, or write JavaScript, PHP, whatever you need to do to get it going. Starting was also an issue as well, and we wanted to tackle that as a problem, but what came with that was, okay, people want to be able to build pretty much any form they can with this solution. And that involves a lot of functionality in our plugins. So whereas some plugins may focus on, here are the benefits of using our plugin, we focus an awful lot on what functionality we have, because 9 times out of 10, they want to know, can it integrate with X, or can it do a calculation that can then do a conditional logic, which then shows X, Y, and Z. So they're very much interested in that in the pre-sale side of considering whether or not they're going to use WS Form or not. So we have a lot of end user benefits and developer benefits, such as just really rapidly speeding up the development of a form. So our ability to rapidly build a form in one click in most cases is just unrivaled in the form plugin space. So you've really got to have a differentiator or differentiators to make yourself stand out in this space. Anybody coming into the WordPress plugin space right now, you're coming into a space that has 60,000 plus plugins there. Most of the stuff has been done very well already. So in order to make yourself stand out, you've really got to have something that makes people stand up and go, okay, that's really going to save my company money or save me money and time using your product, and has some kind of value add there.
Yeah. But one thing I wanted to add there is, really, I'm sure like your focus on developers and making sure the form plugin is really well designed for the developer community. I think that was really smart move and a very interesting problem to solve, because that the very reason why a lot of my team members, they like your form plugin, because they actually see that, like it's easy for developers and stuff like that. And if you look into most of the WordPress websites, so actual website owner, they are relying on these developers and agency to tell them, like, hey, I need a form functionality. I don't care which form plugin you use or suggest. I'll trust you, right? So it's very important to win the developer trust and love for your plugin. So it's definitely working. I just wanted to emphasize that.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that we focused on very early on was our support. So in the early days, really bent over backwards to help people, mainly because we were learning as well, and in terms of what functionality our product needed, getting feedback from customers, and just implementing functionality that we thought would help other people. And sometimes some of the functionality we added may have just helped out one customer to achieve what they want, but in future other people are going to potentially need that. And the more that we provided better support, the better the feedback was in the community about the products. People were talking about it. We have a Facebook group where we have hundreds of people as part of that group, and they talk about all things development, not just WS Form. So building a community within the community is a very valuable thing to do. And there's plenty of tools out there to do that. We tried things like putting a forum on our site. We found that was a little bit close-knit. So by going to a social media platform like Facebook and starting a group, that was really, really helpful. We found that a lot of the other plugins out there had Facebook groups as well. It just seemed to be a place that people got together. Not my younger sons, but the older ones of us tend to still be on Facebook and using these groups. So, but we also had a lot of success. I think one of the important things to do when you're developing a plugin is try to identify other groups of people that would be interested in your product. So, for example, with WS Form, a lot of the developers are using different site builders such as Bricks, Breakdance, and Oxygen, which are more developer-focused site builders, as opposed to some of the more popular ones like Beaver Builder and Elementor and things like that. And by getting involved in those communities, we found some great audience for our product. And then we also work with the likes of Kevin Geary, who runs Geary.co, and he has a great collection of developers and a circle that he runs. And that kind of audience was great for us as well. So trying to reach those developers. Now, when you're bootstrapping a business like I did, and it's self-funded, you don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars to blow on Google AdWords. So being part of the community and being active in these groups and helping people out, not just talking about the product. Now, I very, very, very rarely will post about, hey, here's WS Form in a group. I'll only do that if I'm asked by the group owner to say, hey, have you got a Black Friday deal or something? And then we'll talk about it. But most of what I respond to is helping people out with things. Just, if they've got, I've even helped out people with questions they've got about other form plugins, just to help them out. I don't know this WS Form or not, but being part of the community. And then as a small business, we try to give back as much as possible to the community. So we sponsor all the flagship WordPress events, which for us is a huge investment. Compared to some of these bigger companies that are there. We're giving away quite a lot of our net income back into the community to sponsor these events and keep that ticket price down for people. But I love those events. We don't get an immediate ROI from them by being there, but just by sponsoring and being present and getting your name out there just slowly builds brand awareness. And I also love meeting potential customers, but also people that are using the product when I'm there. It's just great to meet. I think that's where we met, was at WordCamp. So WordCamps have been really valuable for us. The big, so we do Europe, Asia. We just got confirmation today actually that we will be sponsoring Asia, which is great, and Europe as well. So yeah, be as present as you can in these communities and give back is definitely good advice.
Yeah, and especially what you mentioned about once you know your target market, then you know where they are hanging out, what are the events they are going, what are the Facebook groups or communities they are part of. So I think that's kind of like where I think is the main domino to kind of figure it out, that where your potential buyers or customers or target market.
Where are they? Where are And in the marketing stack, the best marketing you can get is somebody saying, this is a great product, use it. For me, the bottom of the stack is pumping hundreds of dollars into Google AdWords advertising or Facebook advertising. There's a lot you can do without having those huge investments on marketing. Now, it takes time. I think the thing is, whatever you're doing, be it a plugin or any other kind of business that's associated with WordPress, it takes time to build those relationships. And I think that's where the WordCamps and meetups and things like that could be really valuable. Everybody at a WordCamp is friendly. You can walk up to pretty much anybody in a restaurant, bar, wherever it may be, or in the main hall, and say hello, introduce yourself, and just start up a conversation. And then from that, it kind of explodes. There's a tree of knowledge there that you can tap into just by talking to people. So you definitely want to be, confident in yourself and get out there and talk to people and grow that network. And you're in a space that's been around for 20 years. There's a lot of people that have been doing this for a long time, so they've got valuable information that they want to give, and by talking to them, you can tap into that, and it's invaluable. It's taken me a long time to do that, and slowly build up the relationships that I've got. But they're all genuine relationships. They're all really good friendships that I've built, which I love. And most of the time we're just having fun and learning about the product more. But when you need it and you're like, do you know anybody that works in this space or works for that company, then bang, you can get in touch with somebody and join the groups that are available out there as well, like Post Status. Post Status is a fantastic WordPress group. There's so many people on there that you can get in touch with. Some of the big names that you may be a little bit apprehensive about contacting, but if you go on Post Status and go into Slack and say, hey, it's me, here's what I'm doing, and just wondered if you might be able to help me talk to whoever, they get back to you. They're very, very open community and friendly community, I found.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm a Post Status member too, and I have seen that the conversations, the questions, and the participation that everyone has in the community, and it's such a valuable actually community. And I've found some of the even though I don't have a question, I just like to actually just read someone else's questions and how everyone kind of jump in. And I was like, oh wow, I didn't know that.
There's a lot to learn there, and there's even a self-promotion channel that I love to look at because people shout about new things they're doing. It's great to learn about new things on there. Post Status has been definitely a valuable tool. There are lots of groups like that you can join up. So it's well worth investing in those and joining them for sure.
Yeah, no, of course. So let's give a quick shout out to Post Status. So Post Status is an amazing community if you're a WordPress developer, freelancer, or entrepreneur doing something in a WordPress, like already have a business or want to create a WordPress business. Go check out Post Status membership, and you'll find value there. Mark, I also wanted to quickly go back to the event aspect of that. One thing I wanted to ask you about the WordPress events, as you mentioned that you found a lot of values going to WordPress event, WordCamps, and you have also been sponsoring some of the WordCamps as well. One challenge that I have noticed, and I can speak on that topic, from my own experience, because I'm an introvert, right? So as an introvert, going to conference is sometimes can be stressful. Sometimes what you mentioned about You can have like this random conversation. You can ask questions and meet amazing people. All that sounds good. But for introvert, it's very hard, to do. There is like a lot of barriers that you have to kind of like fight through. Is there any tips or advice for someone who finds going to these events stressful? How they can make these events, going to events and conferences, a little bit more fun and effective?
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty you can do at a WordCamp event, and plenty you can learn without necessarily having to interact with everybody. So, it's funny, at WordCamps, we notice that there's obviously people that do find it uncomfortable to talk to others. I'm a bit of an introvert myself, but people wouldn't realize that. But when I'm in the WordPress events, I try to break out of that. But it's kind of tiring, having to become that social butterfly. I think there's advice on both sides. I think for the people at WordCamps, what I found helps is to say hello to people as they're walking past. If they're browsing at your booth, is to say hello and start the conversation. And that sometimes just breaks the ice and enables people to talk to you. And I'll just say, hey, I'm Mark. Who are you with? What do you do? So I think that helps people out. I think in terms of the introvert going to WordCamp, don't feel the need to talk to anybody. I mean, it's the great thing about WordCamps is that there's so much you can learn without no one's going to force you to interact with people. So don't feel that by going to a WordCamp that you have to talk to people. You can quite happily walk around that hall and not talk to anybody if you don't want to, and just read what's there. But if you can pluck up the courage to talk to the people at the event and talk to the people at the booths, you will find it very, very rewarding, and you'll get a lot more out of it. And I don't think you need to feel embarrassed or worried about talking to people there, because everybody there wants to talk to you. They want to give you their story. They want to hear what you do. So yeah, it's difficult, but I think that you're in terms of conferences I've been to, it's one of the most thought out, thoughtful events that you can go to anywhere. I mean, it's so tailored towards people with different social skills and different abilities to talk to people, that it really shouldn't be an intimidating place to be. Some other conferences I've been to, they're just crazy. Everyone's drinking like crazy, and it's nuts. But I found that WordCamps have been quite a comfortable place to be. So try and pluck up the courage and say hello to people. I think you'll find it rewarding.
Yeah, no, I like that idea. And in fact, like for example, what you say, that you go to this conference, and you don't have to feel stressful or pressured that you have to talk, you have to just be in the room. I think so. Yeah. That's one thing I noticed, that like I would do two things. One is like, I'd say that just go to the room where all the smart people, all the people that you admire, people that you get inspiration from, just hanging out, just be that, you don't have to actually talk or do anything. Just stay there. Just being in the room itself is valuable.
Take it at your own pace.
Correct. And I also found for myself, like preparing some of the questions in advance, I noticed that I don't like to be on a spotlight, so what I do is I just was like, hey, I have this question, what do you think? So then I'm kind of like, because introverts is naturally, you are more curious, you're more, so just.
I think that's a great idea. Yeah, if there's a particular company you want to talk to, go there with a question, so you've got a way of breaking the ice with that person, and start, kick up a conversation. And you'll be amazed who you meet and who you have conversations with. It's a great experience. And and then there's things there like the after party as well, where everyone's a bit more relaxed and just having drinks and stuff. But I'm pretty sure that most people that go there will come away with at least one more friendship. Pretty much guarantee that you'll meet somebody or build a relationship with somebody, which will help your career. 100%. It's a very, very valuable experience.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. So that was a good discussion on the little sidebar discussion on some tips for the introverts to be more fun and comfortable, going to some of the events. Mark, one phase that a lot of entrepreneurs or WordPress plugin developers or someone who's creating a business, they struggle is to creating that momentum. So when they put a lot of time and energy into building a plugin, designing a plugin, coming up with these ideas, and when finally the plugin is ready, the next big goal and challenge becomes is like get customers, right?
Yeah, get that first customer.
yeah, get the first customer, right? So I wanted to ask you about that, like, because I know that the journey for, let's say, getting your first 10 customer, probably you will do things differently or maybe the same, but I wanted to kind of like in the next few minutes, if you're okay with that, we'll go with some of your tips, strategy, or something that you applied in your business, or want to just suggest someone else that what are the things that you would do to get your first 10 customer. Then we'll talk about 100 customer, and then we'll talk about 1,000 customers. So kind of like just talking about these three different customer groups.
Yeah, I think so. In terms of your first customer, first of all, you want to make sure your product is ready. That means it's debugged, as much as you possibly can. That you've got all the key functionality you want in there to be a viable and usable and helpful product to people. You've got to go way back to the beginning, make sure the idea of what you're building is something that people are going to need. But assuming you've got that wrapped up, before you launch, just make sure that everything is in place and working well. There's nothing worse than launching something and then people start writing negative reviews because there are bugs, etc., etc. So for us, being a plugin company, we felt that having a free version of our plugin would help the community, but also be a sales channel for us because we can get people to upgrade from that. So, we did a lot of stuff to be very conscientious about how people use plugins, and they don't want loads of notifications coming up saying upgrade, upgrade, upgrade. We try to keep the light version quite slim and easy to use and not intrusive. I feel nowadays people are very, very touchy about what the plugin is doing to their admin. Is it taking it over? And even those types of things can result in negative reviews. So your reviews on that free version, if you're going to do a free version, I think are critical and very much reflect on the type of company that you are. Even though you're giving away a free product, you've still got to give those people good support. So when you go live, you also want to make sure that all your documentation is in place. There's always a tendency to launch it and then write the documentation afterwards. Documentation takes a huge amount of time. It's, I basically run a support business now, as well as improving the product, but it's essentially support that we're doing day in, day out. We wait
because you're giving out the code and the plugin for like open source, like free, so so support is something that you are basically for, right?
There's a lot of plugins out there you can install to help you build a knowledge base or a support system. We've actually just started playing with DocSpot, which is an AI platform for help. So we're trialing that. Anything we can do to help users out. So in order to get that first customer, obviously you've got to shout about it. You've got to tell people about that plugin. So there are a number of different channels that you can use for that. Now, when you launch a product in the plugin directory, obviously it's going to pop up. People are going to find it in terms of searching for it. So you've got to make sure that your keywords are correct in your plugin, and that your documentation on the plugin itself is clean and easy to read and understandable, so people actually want to install it. That's one way of getting installs. You'll start to get installs pretty much immediately, but because you don't have a million installs already, it takes time. There are people that have been in that plugin directory for a long, long time, and they've got huge amounts of installs, and those tend to get the higher rankings. So you can't rely on just adding it to the plugin directory on its own. There's a lot of other stuff that you need to do. That's where the community comes in, I believe. So, you know, on post status, you can announce your plugin. You can reach out to content developers out there. So there are loads of big names in the WordPress space that produce weekly content for WordPress. Reach out to them. Now, they may not get back to you straight away. These people are inundated with requests from people saying, hey, can you do a video about my product? And they've probably got 6 to 12 months out of content that they're already producing. But just getting yourself known and meeting other people, and sometimes you'll talk to another plugin developer who will have an existing relationship with one of those content people who can recommend your product to them. So a lot of the times it's, you know, word of mouth coming from other people. So getting involved in the community as much as you possibly can, getting your name out there. So what do? We sponsor WordCamps, and that gets our logo on there. People see it. We get involved with a lot of people at these events, and that has helped to get the name out there as well. I can't remember how we got our first customer. I think it was just, you know, a lot of ongoing pushing stuff into the pipe. And eventually you start getting those sales. And then some customers will buy it and you'll never hear from them again. Other customers will have a lot of support ticket questions. And by being very, very hot on that support and helping that person out, they will probably give you a review and they'll probably recommend you to other people. And it just slowly, slowly builds up. We've grown 40-50% every year since we started because we've been hot on that support. So going from those 10 users to 100 users to 1,000 users, it's a steady growth. Now, like I say, we weren't investment backed, so we didn't have a huge marketing budget. So it's all been done organically, but it is possible to do it. And the nice thing about a plugin business, particularly one where you're charging a fee, is that provided you're providing a good service and good value, that customer base is going to grow over time. And it's quite a solid business. You know, if you lose a customer, then if you've got 20,000 customers there, losing one customer is a big problem. It's not like a business where you're an agency and you've got maybe 20 customers. If you lose one of those, it's like, okay, that hurt a bit. But I can honestly say that when someone asks us for a refund or they cancel, it's just because, you know, we're no longer working on that project, or that company went bust or whatever. So it's nice. They actually write to us and say, hey, we loved using your product. We'll use it again in future. And that's rewarding because all that hard work that you put into support helps out. So there's a lot you can do without spending huge amounts of money on marketing. And most of that, I believe, is around the community.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think for the first, 1 to 10 customer, as you mentioned, that WordPress already has this WordPress directory, plugin directory, and it's kind of like an app store, you know. So yeah, like as soon as you have a plugin, and especially if you have a free version of the plugin, just put it on WordPress.org because that's where people can find it, install it. So that's kind of one way where you don't have to like pay or invest too much time and money in order to promote it. Yeah. And then, as you mentioned, that from there, I think that's one way to kind of continue to get the lead.
Okay, guys, so if you're interested to check out how Multicollab works and how Multicollab can solve your problems or improve your content publishing workflow, you can go to our website and click on the Try Demo tab in the menu section. Then simply fill out your details, and there you go. Now you have access to the demo environment where you can test all the amazing features that Multicollab has to offer.
What about your website, like plugin website? How much time would you invest in the beginning for the content marketing and stuff like that?
So yeah, I mean, we use easy digital downloads for our software platform, so that really accelerated our ability to have a platform to sell the plugin. We didn't write anything custom. There are several different platforms out there that you can use. We liked easy digital downloads because it enabled us to kind of customize that checkout process and get it looking the way that we wanted to. The biggest part of our website is our knowledge base, and it's really worth investing the time to make sure that's well written, easy to understand, just clean and easy to read. So
do you have any content writer, or you write most of the content?
Yeah, we wrote all the content. So it's all, and also one of the things that we do is when we get a support ticket, if we can write a knowledge base article about that and then refer them to the knowledge base article, that's more valuable than just writing back to the customer over and over again about the same thing. So if you noticed support ticket trends coming through, maybe a simple example is my emails won't send. I'm not receiving my emails. That's a classic form-related issue, which you can write a knowledge base about. So that if I ever see a support ticket coming in more than once, I will write a knowledge base article about it, and that way I can then refer that future people to that, or they'll just find it and they found an answer themselves, and they don't have to come through our support team. So, yeah, when you launch that website, make sure you've written as much as you possibly can. And also read through your knowledge base articles, make sure they make sense, try them. But also maintaining a knowledge base is, and maintaining documentation is very critical as well, because things change. Even links that you may put to third parties, or the way maybe, how do I get an API key for a certain integration? That can update as well. So making sure that you go back through your knowledge base and keep that up to date is critical too.
Yeah. Do you have for the knowledge base update, do you do it when you have something big change in the functionality, or do you have a regular schedule, like every month, every 3 months, someone goes to all the knowledge base and update it?
It's usually, so we have a lot of integrations. We've got about 70 plus integrations, and a lot of our knowledge base relates to that. So when we go through and review those and make sure that we're using the latest APIs and latest offerings that each of those integrations have, we'll then review the knowledge base as a matter of course when we're plugin as well. So, and we recently went through our entire knowledge base and reformatted it. So just making things easier to read, making things bold. Obviously, accessibility is key, right? So we want to make sure that the entire knowledge base is accessible. I believe in making anything you make accessible is better for everybody. Whether or not you're maybe sight impaired or whatever it may be, making your website accessible is just better for everybody. It just makes it easier for everybody to read and understand. So yeah, we do a lot of work on making sure that we've got a good accessibility on the page speed insights and things like that, to make sure that the knowledge base is easy to read, easy to understand, making sure that screenshots are clear. There's nothing worse than reading a knowledge base and the images are all pixelated and hard to read. So we make sure that they're clean and easy to use. So, but there's always room for improvement. So if I ever have time, I'll maybe rewrite things and improve things whenever I can.
Yeah. So putting the plugin on WordPress.org, and then website, make sure that you have tons of content, especially related to knowledge base, support questions and stuff like that.
Yeah. Making it easy for people to contact.
Make it easy. Exactly. And also you mentioned in the beginning about participating in some of these communities and groups, like in the Facebook groups and stuff like that. So being there and adding value.
Yeah, there's social media groups. There are kind of third-party groups you can become part of. Understand your audience. Have a look at what a competitor's doing. See where they're writing stuff.
Yeah.
Try and understand where they're marketing to. There's a lot of ways that you can do that. And there's a lot of, even like SEO plugins can actually give you some quite interesting insight into what competitors are doing and where they're promoting themselves and where they're involved. And another good way of getting out there is just do a search for what your plugin does and see where people are writing about that. Simple example of where, we had some success is, we just typed in best form plugins, right? And you've got all the usual suspects there writing about all their plugins, but there are other sites that will talk about the best plugins out there. And one of those is WordPress.com themselves. And I went onto one of those blogs and I said, oh, there's a form plugin on there that doesn't even exist anymore. So I wrote to them and said, hey, would you consider us for that spot? And a very nice lady wrote back to me and said, yes, we'd love to do that. And also, would you like to write some content for our blog? So, that one contact us submission that I did managed to get us on that page as a reputable form plugin, just because it was a bit of content that hadn't been updated in a while. And also enabled us to write some valuable content for WordPress users where, and within that we can say, hey, WS Form can do that for you. So yeah, being a guest writer for other blogs is another great way of getting your name out there.
Yeah. No, that's a great tip. And yeah, I can see a lot of value there. So if you already have decent or enough amount of content on your website, to find out someone else's website and see if you can contribute into their content and like that. What about affiliates? So have you been doing like anything with the affiliate? Partnering with affiliates, and what percentage of the revenue, or just in general, how effective?
So we started with an affiliate program pretty much from day one. We give 20% to the affiliate if a sale goes through. Now we use Share a Sale as our affiliate program only because I've had a Share a Sale account for years. It dates back to my previous business, so I didn't have to pay to set it all up again. And at the time when we did that, the affiliate plugins for WordPress weren't handling payment, and I believe they do now do that. So so definitely have a look at affiliate programs that are offered within the WordPress sphere itself. The reason I like Share a Sale is it was cheap to set up. I think it was about $5 bucks, and then they just handle everything. So they send the checks out. They handle. It's very simple. You just put a tag on your website, and it monitors all the sales that are going through and where they're coming from. I would say with an affiliate program, be very careful about who you accept into the program. There's a tendency to want to go, I want all these affiliates. They're all going to start selling for me. A lot of them are very clever, and they just want to do some very low-cost pay-per-click marketing, so that when someone types in your brand name, their ad pops up and not yours, and they just get 20% of your business that you would have got anyway. So be very careful about affiliate applications, especially ones that say, hey, I want to promote you with pay-per-click and things like that. The only affiliates I work with are people that want to proactively promote things within the WordPress space and want to produce some really decent content about your plugin. So a lot of the affiliates I work with are content producers. So they have blogs, they have YouTube channels, and they actually want to work with you to develop content. So just because, I mean, this month alone, I think I've probably rejected about 200 affiliates and accepted one. Who was InstaWP.
Where do you go to find or recruit these affiliates, which are like the good affiliates?
I personally don't go and proactively just do it to recruit affiliates. My affiliate program is there in case I develop a good relationship with somebody and I want them to get something out of it, to say thank you for some content that they've put together. A simple example would be like WP Builds, working with Nathan Wrigley. He's been such a great advocate of WS Form and helping me out, and I try and give back to him as well. We sponsor a lot of what he does, and if someone clicks on my logo on his website and someone decides that they want to purchase the product as a result of something that Nathan's done, then he will get a kickback. But I don't, I guess I'm constantly trying to build new relationships with people. Simple example is InstaWP. So I spoke to Vikas from InstaWP. We actually wanted to use his product for our demo platform on WS Form to improve our demos. InstaWP is just a great product. I love playing with it, and just got into a phone conversation with him one evening and realized that there was some synergy there with our two products, where WS Form could be used to create and spin up an InstaWP website, and he had a lot of customers that wanted to maybe send a signal to MailChimp or a third-party mailing platform when someone signed up for a website. And we thought, well, this is a great way we can work together. So at the point that you build that relationship, I'm like, well, look, I want to give something back to you, say thank you for including us in your content and vice versa. And so he signed up to our affiliate program. So it's affiliate programs kind of a nice to have. And these content writers want to make a living, right? They're not just in it to sit and write content all day. They have to generate revenue, and affiliates is one way that they do that. So it's good to have that, so that when you do get to that point when you need to talk to someone about building content with them, 9 times out of 10 they'll be, hey, you've got an affiliate program, so get that set up early. And there's lots of simple ways of doing that. You don't need to worry about writing checks to people and stuff. These systems do it for you.
Yeah, no, I love that idea. Regarding the affiliate, do you have in top of mind like what percentage of your revenue comes from affiliate versus the other channel?
I want to say probably 15-20% of the revenue, I'd say, comes from affiliates.
Yeah, that's
Now
a
we have,
that's a decent, yeah, that's a decent portion of the revenue. Yeah.
yeah, it is, and we see that when the sales come through, you can see that an affiliate sale has occurred. But it's, we'll take sales, and you should take sales from wherever you can get them. And the thing about our business model and most plugin business models is it's recurring revenue, right? So you want to keep that customer, obviously, you are keeping them happy, good support, good product, making sure that the product has value for them, so that on that second year, you get that recurring revenue coming through. So it's worth sacrificing some dollars to get that customer on board. If they can get a discount or they can get some kind of saving, even if you have to pay an affiliate to have got that, don't go, oh, I only got half of what I normally get, because of that. That's a valuable customer that's come through. They've been recommended by somebody, they're engaged and like the product. And the following year, hopefully they'll renew, and that just adds to your recurring revenue that's coming through.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think for Multicollab business, I also kind of realized that the affiliate is such a powerful channel. And it's kind of like win-win too, because when content creators, influencers, they create the content, they want to give the value and education. And by doing so, when they already love a product, then why not to sign up for an affiliate partner like WS Form or Multicollab, and then they can also give the right value and right recommendation, and we all win in the process. So we kind of launched our affiliate program a year ago, and so far it's still small but growing. But we are also looking for really good affiliate partners. If someone is interested, and especially like now as we are on the podcast, if you are listening to this, if you're a content creator, freelancer, and just interested in maybe making some extra passive revenue by suggesting good products, Mark, he also has an affiliate program. Reach out to me and my team. We also have an affiliate program with Multicollab.
Yeah, I think you need to work with those affiliates as well, help them out. So we provide content for them. With Black Friday coming up, we will reach out to the affiliates and let them know what the deal is. And 9 times out of 10, they will write about that on whatever channels they've got, because they want to talk about what's going on in the WordPress space. There's some great WordPress newsletters out there, WP Weekly and things like that, who are always keen to write about deals that are coming up and things that are going on in the WordPress space. And if you can get in touch with those content owners or those newsletter owners and stuff, they're hungry for good content. So if you've got a worthy feature that they want to talk about, for example, we just launched the OpenAI element to WS Form, where you can actually generate a form just by typing in what you want the form to do. So you could say, create me a dog adoption form, and it creates a form for you.
Interesting.
And when we did that, everybody in the WordPress space like, I want to do a demo of this. This is really cool. I had, one guy, Kevin Geary, he made a YouTube video in about 20 minutes after seeing it. He was amazed by it. And it's a really, it's a cool feature. It's really innovative. And so things like that, if you can let the content community of WordPress know about those things, they love that, because that brings audience in for them and helps them out.
Yeah. All right. So let's segue to Cyber Monday, Black Friday. You mentioned about that. So what are you doing? What WS Form's doing this year for Cyber Monday and Black Friday?
So for Black Friday, we do 30% off any of our products, which is the highest discount that we give. And we save it for Black Friday. We always see, every year we see a lull in sales before Black Friday, because everyone's waiting for that offer. We're starting to stretch it out a little bit more in terms of how long the coupon is available for. I would personally recommend to any plugin company to do a Black Friday deal. I know some people that don't do it, but overall, we definitely see an increase in sales. And I think the reason for that is because it turns the purchase more into an impulse buy rather than a informed decision. It's like, well, I might need that next year. I'll buy it, you know. And hopefully they do need it. You know, it's a good product. So, so I think, yeah, Black Friday it's almost like a frenzy on Black Friday. It's just crazy. I would recommend doing whatever you can to reduce the amount of refunds or discount, you know, post-discount stuff that you have to do. So make it as easy as possible for people to use the coupon code that you're offering. Try and avoid them having to type in the coupon code and things like that. But yeah, so we do 30% off on all of our key products. So we have a personal edition, a freelance edition, and an agency edition. So we do 30% off that. And then we also have a bunch of add-ons, some of which, well, all of them are included with the agency edition. Some of them are included with the freelance edition. And then personal is kind of a la carte. So we do 30% off on everything. Just keep it simple. The other thing that we do is we keep that coupon just running after the event.
How long do you keep it running?
Usually until the next big discount that we give. Because we don't want people going on there and going, oh, this coupon doesn't work, you know. So we find that just by leaving it on there, it avoids support tickets because people are like, oh, I missed the offer, can I please?
But you stop promoting it onto your website and all that, but you still the coupon keep it valid, like they can see.
We'll start ours around November. I think it's 21st this year that we're doing it. It actually runs. We say it runs out on the 29th, but we keep it running maybe 2, 3, 4 days after that, just to avoid disappointment for people. Yeah, and then we wait. Then the next. The only time we give discounts like that are Black Friday and WordCamp events, and that's it. So because we want to try and keep it exclusive and, you know, interesting for that time. So yeah, so that's basically all we do. And then in terms of promoting that, that's when you got to get clever and just get out to as many different Black Friday listings as you can. Because just putting
is there any source or place where, like, you know, if you just focus on that one, that will basically make sure that you can get all the...
Yeah, so wpbuilds.com has a Black Friday page. You can get listed on that for free, but you can also pay them for sponsorship to get at the top of the list, and that's one of the things that we do. So that's one of the things that we invest in. We've done stuff with like Jamie with Poodle Press, so he has a YouTube channel. He's going to be doing some Black Friday stuff, so we've actually sponsored that as well. There's a few things that we
sponsored that too. So
good.
Yeah.
And Jamie's doing a great job. I mean, his YouTube channel is just flying right now. So yeah, look around, see who's making the most noise out there, and see if they're running some kind of Black Friday stuff. There's a lot of companies that run Black Friday lists, and if you just do a search on Google for like Black Friday 2022 and see what people are doing and which companies had those lists, if you go there now-ish, maybe they might start. It might be taking applications for Black Friday stuff. So there's a lot that do it for free. Some of them charge, and yeah, it's some of them are fairly inexpensive to do. Some of them can be a little bit more pricey just because they know they've got the audience there. But in my opinion, I think Black Friday is worth investing in. It's just one of those times where it just becomes a plug-in buying frenzy, and yeah, there's a lot of people just buy a bunch of stuff around the Black Friday time, and it's definitely worth doing.
Thanks for sharing that, Mark. And we will, in the show notes, we kind of like try to put it as many resources and these references that we talked about, so that you know, and I'm also planning to publish these, in next few weeks, so that other entrepreneurs who are already kind of like working on the Black Friday, they can basically learn some of the tips and the lessons that you shared. Let's switch the gears now towards more on how do you balance, you know, your routine or life so that, you know, all these like responsibilities as an entrepreneur, because entrepreneurship is really hard, stressful, you know, as you mentioned, like, you know, sacrifice a lot, family time, a lot of different things that, especially when you are running two businesses, agency and product. So yeah, what are some of the tips and recommendations you have to optimizing your life and for the better output, but also making sure that you don't burn out?
Yeah, burnout is very, very easy to occur. Happened to me several times. It's you just get to a point where you're like, okay, I've got to take some time out. I mean, the only way I found with dealing with it is you've got to just force yourself to take time out, and that can always be difficult when you're in that entrepreneurial mode. You want to get everything done as quickly as you can because you feel like, okay, if I get this next bit built, that's going to take the product a step forward. It is tough, and you will inevitably have to sacrifice time elsewhere. It's not like having a 9-to-5 job where you can go home at 5 and worry about work the next day. Particularly when you're first starting that business, it does get easier, over time as you start to build revenue and you don't have to worry about the bills quite so much. Then it does get easier, provided the business is successful. There's not, it's difficult. A lot of businesses fail. They just don't make the revenue that you would expect. For me, I don't have a lot of hobbies. My hobbies really are my family, and when I take that time off, which I have to force myself to do, it's spending time with my family, and I purposely spend time with my kids as much as I can every day. So I will take time out, talk to my kids, ask how their day was, talk to my wife. We always have dinner around the table together. Just set time aside each day for those important things, because it's time you can't get back. If you don't have kids and you've got a partner, make sure you spend time with your partner. If you don't have a partner and you have a dog, spend time with the dog. Take the dog for a walk. But that's all good for yourself. And one of the things I personally do to relax is I love to cook. Do some cooking for the family, because it means I can talk to my kids, and it's one of the things that I've found just takes my mind off things. I just zone out, which is nice. I think if you're just sitting there trying not to work and you've got nothing to do, you'll sit there thinking about work. But if you take your mind off and do a hobby, whatever that may be, whatever you enjoy doing, and make time for that, that's good mental health. There's people like Chris from Lifter LMS. He goes for a walk. He has, he grows stuff. He has animals. He's
he was a guest earlier on the podcast.
Yeah,
Chris was a guest earlier on the podcast, and we talked about some of his written. He mentioned about he lives in a farm, and in fact during the podcast you can hear the roosters, and I was like, wow, this is my life. That's what I want.
Yeah, he's got the life there. I love it. He's such a nice guy. I've learned so much from Chris. But I think it's critical that you allot time to take your mind off work for a bit. It's good for you mentally if you're in it constantly. Now I'm a bit of a workaholic. I'm not going to lie. Ever since I started my business in '96, I have worked around the clock, and it's exhausting. Now, I've got a pretty high threshold for that, but there are times where it's just too much, and that's when you need to take the time off. And I've done that this year. I got to a point where the agency work and the plugin and everything, it got too much. And I had to go to my agency clients and say, look, I need a couple of weeks off. I got to unwind a bit. And they were really supportive. They're like, yeah, go for it, Mark. If you need the time off, that's great. Come back refreshed, and took some time for the family and did me a world of good. So, and sometimes things can wait. You maybe don't need that new feature tomorrow. It's not gonna. You can always feel pressure from customers because they need things straight away. Maybe it's stopping them from doing something. But try not to let that control your life 100%. Sometimes things can wait, and you need to put your health first.
Yeah. No, thanks for sharing that. And I think some of the advice that you shared are very effective. And most importantly, I like the idea of cooking, because I listened to a podcast. I'm not a good at cooking. I never learned it. I'm still kind of like just starting that journey a little bit. But
I'm not a great cook. I just like it.
yeah, and it's true. Like sometimes like I mean, I've been thinking like the cooking can be a chore, but it can also be a great stress relieving, or like an exercise to bond with your family. Seth Godin, the author, he was on a podcast with Tim Ferriss, and he kind of like mentioned the same thing, that one of his favorite thing to do end of every day is to cook, because that's where he likes to kind of connect with his kids and family. So yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's not, I don't just throw things in an air fryer. I like to actually learn how to cook. And I guess it's funny, I kind of realized that was my way of relaxing. I just, one day I went, you know what, this is actually, I'm not thinking about work by doing this. I need to do this more often. And what I did was I signed up for one of those services where they send you the ingredients, and I did it so that my son and I could spend some time together. So we would take each recipe at a time and learn how to cook them and stuff, and just found it relaxing. So some people may call me mad, but
actually I love it. Yeah,
something that I've learned how to do. I wish I had other hobbies, but I don't have time for them. So family comes first. So that's where I put the effort.
Yeah. No, but I like that. Like, you are very clear with that. Like, okay, you enjoy working, you enjoy growing your business. That kind of like, your ikigai, and it kind of like gives you the passion and the purpose and energy. But also like, as you say, like you don't have any other hobby. So all the time after work is all for the family. And I think these are the two.
And really, my work is my hobby. I love what I do. And if I have some time at the weekend, I don't go play golf. I'll sit there and I'll work out how to do some new feature. But I love that, because that's kind of what I like doing. I like finding a problem and then coming up with a solution for it. So that's simple life.
No, great stuff, Mark. So I think we are getting close to wrap this up. Is there anything that we didn't have a chance to talk about, or I didn't have a chance to ask about? But
I think we've covered a lot. We've covered a lot, I think. So if anybody has any questions or wants some help with anything, then I'm always open. You're welcome to approach me. You can get hold of me on Twitter. I'm just at Westguard, WESTGUARD. And the business is at WS_form. And you'll find me on Twitter, now X, whatever the latest name of Twitter is. I'm on Facebook. And you can reach me through the website as well, WS4.com.
Yeah. Great. No, it was a really great time with you, Mark, and everything that you shared regarding growing a plugin business, balancing the business and growth, and some of your tips on the events and affiliation. I think all of them has been super valuable. And I forgot to mention about the Black Friday as well. So we'll mention all of those things in the show notes. And I really appreciate your time. You have been so generous with sharing your tips, advice, and your lessons.
Yeah, really appreciate thank you for having me. It's been great.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening to and watching to this episode. Before we go, don't forget to check out Mark's product, WS Forms. We'll put the links in the show notes. And if you haven't already signed up for my newsletter, you can get 3 ideas for peaceful growth every Saturday. It's free, and you can get like all the new learnings, inspirations every Saturday. So sign up for that if you haven't already. It's anilg.substack.com, and check out the show notes. All right, keep learning and keep growing. Thank you.
Okay guys, and thank you for watching. Now if you are interested and would like to try this out for yourself, we offer a 30-day free trial of our Pro plan where you can test all the Multicollab features. So for this, all you have to do is click on the link in the description below, and this will bring you to this page, and under the Pro heading, simply click on this button here. Now simply enter a few details, and that's it. You're ready to enjoy the Pro version of Multicollab for free for 30 days. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.